Alright, everyone, so today we are going to be doing a 2020 election prediction between Donald Trump and South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who is now third nationally in most of the polls. So let's fill in all the states that Buttigieg would handily win. So these are the states Buttigieg would handily win. He'd also handily win this, and I think Donald Trump would handily win these states, but we're going to leave that blank. All right, so first of all, I think in this case scenario, I'm going to lay it out pretty straight. I think that Buttigieg, he has enough infrastructure on his side. I think he has enough momentum on his side, and I think he can do very well with the grassroots. And because of that, I think he'd pretty much handily win most of the states that Hillary Clinton carried that were considered competitive in 2016. So states like Nevada, Colorado, Virginia, Minnesota, New Hampshire, I'm going to rate those as likely Democratic rather than lean or toss up. Going around, I do think, though, that Donald Trump would carry Iowa. I'm going to put that as either lean or tilt. I'll put that as lean for right now, and I'll put Ohio is maybe lean or tilt. I'll just put them both as lean for right now. Maybe I'll change that later. I also think that Buttigieg, Wisconsin would be likely for him. Michigan would be likely for him. Pennsylvania would be likely for him. And that would make Pete Buttigieg already the 46th president of the United States. But I'm also going to rate Indiana as likely Republican. No, I'm going to put it as likely. I think Buttigieg could probably make it close in Indiana because this is his home state. And I think it'll probably be close. Obviously, Barack Obama barely carried Indiana in 2008, and he was gaining a lot of momentum that year. But Indiana is still considered one of the most Republican states in the country. And for that reason, I'm going to say that Indiana goes for... I'm going to say it goes for Trump ultimately, but I could see Buttigieg coming a couple points away from winning it, especially since, Donald Trump has Mike Pence on the ticket, so I think that would probably put him over that would secure that the fact that he'd get over the finish line in Indiana is the fact that Mike Pence is on the ticket with him, and Mike Pence was the former governor there. But I think Buttigieg could make it awfully close in Indiana. So I'm going to put that as likely Trump rather than just solid Trump. In terms of Florida, typically I'd say, Florida is kind of leaning in a more Republican direction, but I think Buttigieg could do a really good job with turnout. And I think in a year where he's doing really well with turnout, I think that could help him in Florida. And I think I'm going to say that Florida is tilt Buttigieg. I think Arizona would also be lean Buttigieg. I think in a year where Buttigieg is doing really well, he could win Arizona, and he might even win Arizona by like 9 or 10 points if Buttigieg does really well and gets a lot of people to turn out. I also think North Carolina is always close. So I'm going to say North Carolina is going to be leaning for Buttigieg, because in a year where he's getting a lot of turnout and a lot of momentum, that should really, 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 really help him. Now, in terms of Maine's first congressional district, I think that's going to be tilting in Trump's column. I think that Trump won that by a big margin. Yes, I know there was Jared Golden, a Democrat, did win there, but he barely won that congressional seat by the skin of his teeth. And on top of that, on top of the fact that he only got in by the skin of his teeth, he only got in by ranked choice method of voting. So for that reason, I'm going to say that that's still becoming a more safely Republican district, and I'm going to say that that's going to be tilting in Trump's column. But I also think that Maine's at-large district would be likely, if not safe, for Buttigieg. And then that leaves Georgia. Now, this is a hard one because on the one hand, Donald Trump is the incumbent, and he did win it by a solid margin. He won it by about 6 points. Republicans didn't do so well there during the midterms. But he didn't do well in the metro Atlanta areas. Stacey Abrams, who was a huge far left Democrat, came very close. She came only 2 points away from winning there. And if Buttigieg is getting a lot of momentum and a lot of turnout, I think he could do well there. And you know what? I think he's moderate enough so that he can appeal to some of the more moderate white working class voters in rural Georgia, while also getting enough minorities to turn out in the metro Atlanta areas. So I'm going to say that Georgia is tilting in Pete Buttigieg's column. And again, on that topic of winning over moderate white working class voters, I think that could help him in Nebraska's 2nd district, and I'm going to say that that's tilting for Buttigieg. So this is the final electoral map. 188 electoral votes for Donald Trump, 350 electoral votes for Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Leave suggestions down below. Tell me what your thoughts are, and I'll see you guys in the next video.